SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar. It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute.
Hey folks, time for another In a Mississippi Minute. I'm Steve Azar. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, happy 2025. I hope it's gotten off to perfection for so many of you, for all of you. Reminding you that my pals over there in Macon, Mississippi, they know how to make catfish, produce it from the... It's a beautiful thing. They are great folks over there. Please check out superiorcatfish.com and visit Mississippi.org. So many rock star things await you. Plan a trip. I'm going to get my buddy down here, today's guest, on Mississippi soil before, on the way from Maine, where he is from, to Florida when he's snowbirding, and I'll get him to stop in Mississippi and come see us. I'm thrilled to have my guest today, a dear friend I met many years ago in Portland, Maine, and now retired police officer with a very impressive 30-year career in the South Portland Police Department, where he served in various roles, including as detective and supervisor in the Bureau. His latter years on the force was like a calling, human trafficking. The name itself is hard to vocalize. It hurts for me to even say it. But he was so pivotal in getting victims off the street and turn their lives around. I saw it firsthand. So did so many that were around him. Just showed a lot about the heart and character of my guest today. I consulted with him when I was asked to write a song, The Sky's Falling, Patty Joe's Prayer is what I called it, on the topic. And I wouldn't have done it full justice if he wouldn't have given me all the information I need. And the words were difficult as it was to put on paper. I was really greatly appreciated his expertise in the field, and his heart and soul regarding. He later transitioned to the corporate world as an investigator and now dedicates his time as a public speaker and consultant, focusing on leadership and empowerment. And as an author, his most recent literary endeavor, a memoir with Maisie, looking back, forward, and beyond with one special rescue dog, intertwines his life story with the inspiring tales of one of his adopted rescue dogs, Maisie. The book explores the themes of resilience, leadership, and compassion, highlighting and transformative power of love, both human and canine. Through his experiences fostering dogs with the Almost Home Rescue of New England, he shares the lessons Maisie has taught him about hope, growth, and living in the moment. He's here to talk about the power of animal rescue, the importance of giving back, which he always does, the new book, and how we all can make a difference one dog at a time. So please welcome in my pal, Steve Webster.
I have to take just a second to congratulate you, my friend. Did you know how long ago did we actually meet? I was thinking the other day, that had to be over 20 years ago now, I think.
Yeah, at a Portland airport. Yeah. I'll never forget it. We've had this conversation on this show a couple times, but it was one of my most vivid memories of a friendship about to happen from the second you guys, I felt like we were about to be arrested, Jason and I, my sidekick. And you guys came and y'all were very, what's the word? Forward, I guess. And then you made your way into the hotel, checked us in, walked up to our room with us. And then we just, I was going, okay. And then we haven't been apart since.
It was, and I appreciate that introduction. And I will tell you that one of the things that I talk about in this new book is friendships. I think the term friend is overused, unfortunately. Oh, that's my friend. This is my friend. Oh, what are we? We're Facebook friends. No, you're not. You're really not. And I break it down into friendship levels. And by the time people are done reading that chapter, they're going to start looking at all of their supposed friends and putting them into a certain category. There is one thing that would always stick out in my mind about the day that we met. And you met with a bunch of police officers, and we're pretty simple people. You know, we don't really care about stature, celebrity. We don't care about any of that. We care about the soul of a person. And the one thing you said that I will never forget, I looked at you and said, "What time do you want us to come back and pick you up?" You remember what you said?
I don't remember.
You said, "Pick me up. We're going with you." I'm like, "No, okay." That was it.
We're like an old married couple. I can't get our story straight. I kept thinking you weren't going to leave, and I'm going to go with what you said because I had a long day of travel, so I know that you are accurate and I am not.
Yeah, no, I'm accurate. You said we're going with you, and I'm thinking, okay, and that turned into a really long night and a friendship that has evolved over 20 years, and we've been through a lot.
We have been through it. We lost our dear friend. I'm looking at Harry Bud Nelson. You know, I think about you and your job role, right? But I saw you beyond the hours of the uniform. And I saw the same guy that had this incredible compassion for people. And obviously our dear friend, Harry Bud Nelson, who's from Mississippi, a radio legend, ends up out there with you in New England. And you all become dear friends. He was a game changer in my life. He's all over the place in here, but I remember the first time he got sick, and I remember it was about a 10-year stretch right? Yeah. And I remember you being there every second. Every time, giving the reports, being at the hospital, taking care of him in his house. If you had to give him showers, right? You were doing it all. Where does that character, that beautiful character of yours come from? I mean, does it go back to your mom, your dad, or?
That's a hard question to answer because I think that I saw so many bad things in the world that I wanted to bring a little bit of light to a few people if I could. And Harry, as you know, he was just that type of guy that would give you the shirt off his back. Mm-hmm. And he was a salt of the earth, Southern gentleman. And it wasn't just me. He had some very close friends that were always checking on him, helping him out. And I just did what I could to be there. Basically right up until the very end. Yeah. And, he lived a really great life. He rose above his humble beginnings, if you will, as you're familiar with. And to have somebody like a Harry in our lives, and I say that for both of us, he was nothing but a blessing. So, yeah. And it brought us closer together, too, because you couldn't be there every day. And I understood that. But, boy, you certainly called every day and were a pain in my neck. But that's okay. I mean, that showed me that you really cared. So,
well, I do. I mean, truly. I mean, definitely has a lot of responsibility for my success. I'll never forget it. Steve Azar, will you please finally go make your music? And when he kept going to your music, I said, Bud, you're going to have to help me with this. And he just said, you'll figure it out. But if you don't, until you do your, and finally, when I started doing it, he goes, well, there it is. When I were waiting on Joe, he goes, there is your music. And I said, I didn't even think it was a song. He said, well, you got to wake up now because this is who you are. And so it was just really interesting. And obviously getting to work with him after his radio legendary days, one of the greats. I'm glad we spent time reflecting on Bud. I mean, he told me he was in Jackson, young teenage jock on the air, and somebody heard him going to a funeral in Mississippi that was up in the Boston area, right? And said, hey, I'm listening to you right now. Why don't you come do an air check? And Bud goes, but he said, he thought it was the biggest joke. He thought it was a prank call. Because back then, radio guys used to get prank calls or either do prank calls a lot. And just hearing that. And then finally the guy goes, no, I'm telling you, it's real. And then he never looked back. And he really would change the voice on radio. He was a huge impact in the whole rock days, and just the stories he told were amazing. We are seriously going to get into talking about your book, which is out. Real quick, how can people get your book?
My book is available online at memoirwithmaisie.com. The title of it is A Memoir with Maisie, but we just took off the A to keep it simple. So Memoir with Maisie, and Maisie is Maisie, memoirwithmaisie.com. You can order it right there. I did it a little bit different this time because the last time it was too much work. So this time I went through a small company in Maine, and they're going to ship them out for me. I don't have to do any of that stuff, and it makes my life a lot simpler.
No more self-published for you. You're retired.
Way too much work.
We're going to send you some Superior catfish out there in Florida where you are. They got good fish, and you got great lobster in Maine, but you don't have Superior catfish. There's catfish. There's Superior catfish. And please go to SuperiorCatfish.com and visit Mississippi.org. So many musical rock star things await you if you just plan a road trip. I'm Steve Azar with Steve Webster.
Maybe you'll do things my way. Let me tell you why I don't let things slide. You can live through me. You can get through life. Around here, what I say goes. Out here, what I say goes. 'Cause I'm the coach. I'm the coach.
Deli's.
It's on the corner of Highway 1 and 82.
Steve Azar here rocking with former Sergeant Detective, my man, Steve Webster. He's retired, hanging out in Florida, playing a lot of golf right now. And when it's the wintertime, he leaves his South Portland, Maine area where he grew up, and he snowbirds. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He's a special man. His new book is out. Memoir with Maisie, looking back, forward, and beyond with one special rescue dog. And I have a feeling that dog was felt the same way about Steve as I guarantee that feeling was mutual, and that unconditional love was mutual. Superior Catfish. Please check them out. My pals over there in Macon, Mississippi, produced right here. Go to SuperiorCatfish.com and visit Mississippi.org. We have left a blues marker all the way over in Liverpool, over 200 of them. You can take a road trip, and you won't regret it. Steve Webster, let's talk about, first of all, real quick before we get into the book, how's Deb doing?
She's doing great. We're in a bit of a chill down here in Florida right now, but don't worry, it won't last long.
When you say chill, well, yeah, I mean, what are we talking? We're talking 40 degrees?
Oh, no, not that chilly. I mean, it's closer to 50 or 55, but we'll survive it, and I'll be back out on the golf course tomorrow.
Can I ask you, with 50 or 55 degrees, what you're used to in Maine, which was what right now?
It was about 12 degrees up there last night because we still have a couple kids up in that area, as you know. And actually, my son said, I'm going out to shovel. And I said, you enjoy shoveling that snow because I will never do it again.
How many times do you think you shoveled?
Way too many.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. The life that y'all live up there, that it gets so cold. I mean, but I know it's a norm and you grow up doing it. But I'm glad you've gotten to enjoy the best times of year in the best weather. You've earned it. Let's talk about the inspiration for the book, how you met Maisie, and then, what finally, I know you've written other books, but what finally got you to go, this was worth spending the time on? I
write as a form of therapy, I guess. Everybody's a little bit different, and I feel it is better if I get it out. And I really didn't have anything to write about. And I started writing a little bit about Maisie, and I really had no end goal in mind. And then the words just started coming out. And I realized that, how do I say this in a professional way? You are an entertainer and an author now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But it got to the point where I really didn't like most people. And that may sound crazy to some.
I'm having a hard time believing you're saying this.
Oh, no.
When you spent your life taking care of people, not just protecting them.
That's my point. That is my point. And a lot of the people that I took care of or helped or guided through a really traumatic situation, I came to realize that not all of them, but a lot of them, they brought on their own misery. Mm-hmm. And I was the one that came in and had to try to fix it.
Yeah.
So I had just, not only that, but the world in general. You see it, everybody sees it. We're a divided country. We're not like we used to be. And it just really brought me down. And when we got Maisie back in 2019, I look at it as fate. You know, we had a couple of dogs that we were going to try to adopt. It didn't work out. And a wonderful lady at this almost home rescue texted me one day and said, "Hey, can you bring me a coffee?" And she was at a store in our old hometown. And she happened to have Maisie there that day. And the dog jumped up in my lap, jumped up in Debbie's lap. I'll never remember exactly what she said.
Did you bring her Dunkin' Donuts is what I want to know.
We did.
I just want to
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
I can picture it. I can taste it.
Yeah, that's good coffee. And basically we ended up bringing her home the next day. And from that point on, I realized that I got more enjoyment out of working with dog rescue volunteers than I did anybody else. They are the most selfless people that will give up their time, their energy, in some cases their money, to get these once unwanted dogs all the way from, a lot of them, believe it or not, I'm sorry to say this, guess where they come from?
Where?
Mississippi.
Are you kidding?
Oh, no. That's where most of the dogs come from that end up north. Mississippi, Alabama, some in Georgia. And I talk about why that is, but that just turned into a mission, basically. And I said, if I can help one dog, just one. I mean, who knows? And you, I don't know if you have a dog now, but you've had dogs. And I know you've had dogs, and I know you love dogs.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't love dogs, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
I love them.
But the dogs come into this world, and like humans, you know, they're not responsible for how they come into the world, the treatment they receive when they're very young. And a lot of these dogs, they come from really bad backgrounds. You know, their mother had them underneath a mobile home somewhere in Mississippi. Somebody came in, a rescue organization, took them in, got them into a foster home. Some come from terrible situations, but you know what? So do some people. And that, I think, is the interesting thing about this book, is somehow I end up interweaving dog stories with human stories. And I'll give you a very quick, simple example. The first time I brought Maisie to a dog park, she ran. And when I say she ran, she ran. But luckily, we were in an enclosed area. So she could only go so far. But I learned a valuable lesson that day, and that was, if I just let her run, she'll come back to me eventually, instead of me wearing myself out. But then I tell another story of a drug addict that I dealt with years ago. She was brought to me by her lawyer, and we put her up in a hotel so she was safe, not living in the parking garage that she was in. And she was a challenge, I'm not going to lie. I mean, a big challenge. And what did she do? Because she, too, was in an unfamiliar situation, unknown environment with people she didn't really trust. She ran too. And she ran back to the parking garage, back to the drugs. But we didn't give up on her. We would go get her and bring her back. There were many times I could have arrested her, but I'm like, no, that's not my goal here. I need to get her help.
Right.
So you've got a dog and a human in similar situations. And the way I look at it is, should we really give up on either one of them? Maisie no longer runs unless she sees a squirrel or a chipmunk. Then all bets are off. But that other woman is now well over 10 years clean and sober. And she's helped people that used to be in the shoes that she wore back in the day. So those are the stories that I try to tell. And it's not a long book because, as you know, my attention span's not that long.
That's why I love the way you write, because you're like Cliff Notes. You're actually on Cliff Notes on steroids, but I can handle it. So,
Yeah.
We're busy doing so many things. I love reading articles. I love reading, stuff like that. And I'm difficult when it comes to putting a big, thick book in my hand. And that's not an excuse. It's just, I used to tell Gwen, I used to go, hey, I write songs for a living. I'm a writer. So, and she goes, you can't make that excuse. And I said, well, I like to write things that I can, my mind will absorb and move on. It's just how I'm built. And I like to watch it on movies. I like to hear the music behind the background. So I'd rather see it that way. And I love podcasts. I love to listen, Yeah. So I've done. Let's take a quick break. My dear pal, author, sergeant, detective, former, back in his day, Steve Webster from Portland, Maine, South Portland, police department back in his day, changed a whole lot of lives I got to see it. And I fell in love with this man's heart and soul. His new book, you got to check it out, A Memoir with Maisie. And you can get it at where, Steve?
Memoirwithmaisie.com.
There you go. Memoir with Maisie. And Maisie is Maisie. Superior Catfish. There's catfish. There's superior catfish. I'm telling you right now, it is so white, flaky, and lovely and buttery, and can I say that? If you add butter. It's wonderful. Please check my pals out at superiorcatfish.com and visit Mississippi.org. Shining things await you. Check out Pearl River Resort, my pals over there at Dancing Rabbit, the Augusta that you can play. I'll take Steve Webster there someday soon.
Me home tonight. Well, maybe I'm crazy, but there could still be room for me in life. It's never too late to start all over. Even after all this time, I keep going back to Greenville. I keep on going back to Greenville. Going back to Greenville in my mind. In my mind. In my mind. I'm still trying to find my way.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time homebuyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Homebuyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time homebuyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
I hope it's not too late. There's still so much to say to you. I keep running
into a third segment of a Mississippi Minute with a Maine man.
No matter
he sent me
what
lobster all the time for Gwen, my wife's birthday. But now he has made his way. He spends a lot of time back in Maine, but he's spending a little time in Florida at his home there. He's got dual homes, dual residence, and he deserved it. I spent a whole lot of time serving the people of Maine, 30 years plus. And he's written a few really cool books. I love the way he writes, and I appreciate him as a human being. Superior Catfish, don't forget, there's catfish. There's Superior Catfish. Go to superiorcatfish.com. Produced right here in Mississippi. And visit Mississippi.org. Celebrates. It's hunting season right now. I'm fishing. A lot of my friends that are, it's too cold to fish right now. We're not going ice fishing, Steve. But no. A lot of my friends are in blaze orange and camouflage. They're morning, afternoon, and nightly uniform right now, and they're very happy. So we do have so many wonderful places to experience our wildlife. Okay, Steve, Prince, let me just go. So Prince was my first dog. Batman was my second. Rebel, same time. Agent 99. Mr. Simon, and Waffles. Those have been well, they've been my dogs throughout my life. I can compartmentalize each dog and then also reflect on your lifetime. I mean, like, what was going on in your life when they were around? I mean, that's spanned a lot of years. Can you do that as well? And am I making any sense if you think you look back at the joy that you were given? And sometimes taking care of animals and being gone a lot, that's why we don't have a dog right now, is because we're gone too much to keep checking into the dog hotel, or the veterinarian. And we don't feel like that's right. So until we get settled in and we're home more, we could do it. But when you're gone over half the year, it's not right. But
I don't want to drag you down at all, but I just want to throw this little tidbit in. You're also getting older like I am, and your kids are now sort of on their own, so they're not there to let the dogs out. So
they were there before? Oh. Huh.
Well, every now and then.
I didn't know. I didn't have to check on my kids with that. No, they were. Okay, so for you, can you compartmentalize all those beautiful dogs that you had in your life and how they affected your life as you grew up?
I actually talk about the dogs that I've had in my life, and not at length, but I kind of sum up, when I was a young kid, we had Ginger, and unfortunately, I was too busy figuring out who I was and what I wanted to do as a kid to focus on Ginger. She was a great dog, but she ended up passing when I was in high school, and my dad and I were both in a state of depression for days. Mm-hmm. But when we got Maisie, my world sort of changed a little bit, because it wasn't long after we got her that I had a heart attack at 54 years old. Not long after that, I lost my job in the corporate world. But I ended up thinking, I want to focus on this dog. I want to figure out what makes her tick and make her life so much better. Why? Because she doesn't know it, but I know. At best, she has 10 to 15 years. We've had many more than that already to pack everything in. She doesn't. So I'm going to make it fun for her. And that's what we've done. She goes swimming. She goes hiking. Everywhere I go, she goes with me. That pandemic just allowed us to be together 24 hours a day. And I have come to not only appreciate her, and I'm not like some weirdo. Yeah, I know she's a dog. I get that. But I think that dogs have a heart. I think they have feelings. I think they're the most loyal things out there. And I just want to enjoy the time that I have with her. But more importantly, I want her to enjoy it, because what are the lessons she's teaching me? Just like all of these dogs that you've had, what lessons did they teach you? They taught you to be patient. They taught you that they don't live for tomorrow. They live for right now.
They also taught you how to be responsible.
They did. Yeah. They taught you things that you didn't even realize they were teaching you. And I tell some really, I think, in my humble opinion, interesting stories, not only about dogs that we fostered personally, and there were a lot of them. The one dog that I had the most issues with, kind of aggressive, that dog ended up going to a family that has a child that is autistic. Mm. And believe it or not, that dog is that child's protector. Mm. So that dog who was given a chance is now paying back all those chances to a young boy who, if he starts to go towards water, that dog, no training, just instinctual. So
that's just it's always remarkable to me, their instincts. Oh, yeah. It really is. Now, we had a hellion for our last dog. I mean, Waffles was, he was known in the music business as the dog that you probably don't want to go to Steve Azar's house to have dinner and with the Waffles greeting you at the door. I mean, he had an ET neck that could stretch. He was an 80-something pound basset hound, for goodness sake. He was just a monster. And anyway, we cried like babies when you had to let him go. I mean, it was awful. It was awful. It was so sad. We didn't have one night's sleep with a thunderstorm. For 12 years, But for some reason, none of that mattered because you just love them so much, But it's difficult to let them go. Can I ask you something? So you talk about Mississippi, Alabama, places where you guys get rescue dogs. What's the transportation like to get from point A to point B? And how does that happen and why?
It's and Debbie and I both learned once we became volunteers for Almost Home that it's almost like an orchestra where everybody's got their own instrument to play and they make beautiful music, but there will be, and again, I know you're from the South. I love some people from the South, but
come on.
There is no doubt that dogs are treated differently to a large extent in the South. They're allowed to roam freely. A lot of them that might have an owner, they're picked up as strays. It's just the way it is. And there are a lot of what we call kill shelters down south, which is a term that you need to read about in the book. It's a very complicated issue, but those dogs, once they are rescued, if you will, and they're given their vet check, maybe go to a foster home. The rescue organizations up north work with rescue organizations down south. And they'll say, okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, these 6 dogs that are ready to be transported up north. Then they will bring in a tractor trailer. And that's where we started was with transports. We would meet a tractor trailer, an 18-wheeler full of dogs in, say, Connecticut, New Hampshire, or however far north they would go. Mm-hmm. I think the most we ever picked up was 13 dogs at once and put them into a little van, which was fun. And then we would bring them back to Maine, where they would be met by their foster, and then some get adopted immediately. The older dogs don't get adopted as quickly, which I think is sad. And the color dog that is so tough to get adopted?
What?
Black.
Why?
You know why? I tell you why. This is how crazy people are. They don't look good in pictures.
Come on.
Dead serious. Black. They're very, very tough to get those adopted.
Oh, man, there's nothing better than more beautiful than a shiny black coat. Is it beautiful?
I tend to agree with you. But, if, like I said, my simple goal was if we can get more people to adopt than shop. I'm very professional. Well, okay, somewhat professional on this program here, but I'm very vocal. I just say what I think.
Oh yeah, you do.
The older I get, I just don't give a damn.
Yeah.
But I want people to not only love the dogs they have, but to realize they don't have to spend thousands of dollars for a dog that has a pretty name at the end because it makes them feel more important when there are so many dogs that need to be adopted,
right?
Rescued.
Well, let me tell you this. Most of my cars are black, and I know you have to deal with keeping them clean. But, when it comes to that, I love it. I like wearing a black suit. Don't get me started. I wear black on stage a lot. Don't get me started. I love it. I love it. Sometimes you have to get the tape thing and make sure you get the specks off at times so you can really shine. But we'll take a quick break. Steve Webster's my guest today. The book, A Memoir with Maisie, looking back, forward, and beyond. Please check it out. It's memoirwithmaisie.com. M-A-I-S-I-E. Steve Webster is the author, Superior Catfish, authors some of the best catfish I've ever had in my life. Please check them out at superiorcatfish.com, produced here in Mississippi. And visit Mississippi.org. Celebrates Mississippi on steroids. We'll be right back. I'm Steve Azar.
No. That bridge is washed out and the road isn't there anymore.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
Petroleum Corporation across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now.
1, 2, 3.
In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Short little segment left. Steve Webster, author of A Memoir with Maisie, memoirwithmaisie.com. You can check the book out and buy it if you're a dog lover. If you're a people lover, Steve Webster is one of the good ones. I mean, really, truly good. He spent his life devoted to the public. He spent a lot of his final years in the police department, taking care of a lot of victims with human trafficking. And it just showed a lot about the heart and the man. And I saw so many survivors in one night when we did a show one night. I think Dina Carter and I there with Steve and so many. And, I'm telling you, talking about being involved in turning some people's lives around, I was witness to it. It was beautiful. And that's what our lives are all about. He's a giver, a philanthropic love. When we do shows, he's always giving money away that he could probably put in his pocket, but it's just not his nature. And he's just a wonderful guy. He's really an awesome writer. He does it in his own way, and he does it, like he said, out of therapy, like I do when I write songs. Been always writing songs because it makes me feel good, and hopefully it makes you feel good as well. But A Memoir with Maisie, check it out, .com, memoirwithmaisie.com. And so anyway, Steve, we got a short segment left. Advice for adopting? You got any?
Take your time. Just take your time and realize that there are some really fantastic dogs out there that just need a chance. And they will be the most loyal companion from the day that you walk them out of that shelter or foster home into your home. They can do nothing but bring you love and compassion. And I think we all need a little bit more of that.
Can I send you some superior catfish?
You know, I don't know who the superior catfish is, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm falling in love with them.
I love it. They're great folks, man. I'm going to get you some.
Please give them a huge shout out to Superior Catfish, because I tell you who used to eat catfish. It was
H. Bud.
Eric Nelson. Oh, yeah.
Did I ever tell you the first time I met him, I thought he hated my music. I was sitting there playing on the end of the table, and he was kind of growling, and he was way down there, and we were in Boston, and I was going, oh, my God, he hates me. He hates me. And then all of a sudden, he just said, Bud, I'm from Mississippi. I'm ready to take you to Bob the Chef's. I have the shirt still. And it was this, soul food restaurant. He goes, I go, man, I thought you hated my music. He goes, no, I love you. I'm already playing you. I was ready to go eat, and that was our beginning. And I was like, are you kidding me? And it was always about food with me and him. And you guys, that we loved our meals together. We loved talking. I used to love talking to him about whatever he was cooking at night. Anyway, I know we're getting back on H. Bud, and I know he's shining down on us, watching us, going like, what are you two guys doing on the radio? That's what he's thinking.
Talking about H. Bud is so much better than talking about either one of us.
No, you're right. You're right. Man, if I could, I'm trying to live that life that he did. I mean, everything he represented. I feel like I'm so far away from it. But it's just a special, man. I'm just so grateful that he connected us like he did. It's just been amazing, Well, our time's up. I appreciate you taking the time, Steve. Steve Webster's been my guest today. Steve, you're the best. Hugs to Deb there in Florida. I hope you get out tomorrow and play golf in 60 degrees. You can wear shorts in 60 degrees. I just want you to know that.
And I will.
That's my boy right there. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, a memoir. You're so welcome. A Memoir with Maisie. You can go to memoirwithmaisie.com, MAISIE. And Steve Webster is the author. He's been my guest today. Superior Catfish is always on the table. Please check out my pals over there. Produced here in Mississippi. Go to superiorcatfish.com and visit Mississippi.org. Celebrates who we are as Mississippi, and the world wants to come visit. I'm Steve Azar. Steve-O, later on.
Superior Catfish, baby.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
Fox on Tech.
Apple wants your help with more of its health research. It's been a couple of years since Apple started including its research app with iOS, the operating system for the iPhone. It allows Apple users to participate in research studies for the company, particularly for their foray into health and wellness. The company's quest to build personal tech with health management in mind goes back to company founder Steve Jobs' own battle with cancer. Now Apple is launching a comprehensive health study integrating data its devices collect, not just iPhones, but also AirPods and Apple Watches. The study aims to learn, according to Apple's announcement, how things like sleep can affect your mental health or how your exercise patterns can affect your vital signs at rest. Apple is partnering with Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston to conduct the study. Those looking to participate can do so via the research app. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now. A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.